discuss about this. All right, enough fun. Now we are moving into the system thinking and systems approach. And like I said, this is what we are good at. Keio SDM is good at. So there are 13 programs all over Japan, 13 EDGE program going on around Japan. Different schools have different approaches and different focuses and different skills. And I know some of you have been to different school structures or different school activities, and I'm glad to have that. I'm glad to have that because we want the diversity even for the approaches, and I'm glad. And what we think this distinguishes us from everybody else in this EDGE program and any innovation development activity. So we think things as a system, and we approach stuff as a system. So that's what we do. And system thinking, this is taken from this. This is a quote from Senge, Peter Senge. Yeah, he is one of the founders of system thinking. He's from MIT. I think he's still there. Yeah, he's alive, and you can look him up. And yeah, when you look him up, don't look for the literature. It's tough. Look for the videos. You know, you live in 21st century. Like I showed you a lot of videos. You can find his interview online, and that's far more easy to understand than reading his paper. Reading his paper, good luck. Yeah, don't forget he's an MIT professor, so yeah, good luck on that. But yeah, go try to find his interview. So this is how he put system thinking: a discipline for seeing wholes. Okay, whole and a part. So this is a very important concept, looking at the whole. And a framework for seeing interrelationships rather than things. Okay? Not just focusing on things, but looking at the interrelationship between or in between things. That's what system thinking has been described. A process of discovery and diagnosis. Okay, so it's a little bit of an analytical approach to see the world, to see or discover the world and diagnose the world, and as a sensibility for the subtle interconnectedness that gives living system their unique character. It's kind of hard to understand, but you look at and you focus on very weak or very easy. It's hard to find interconnectedness or interrelationship between the elements, and that elements come together and then becomes a system. And because of these subtle interconnectedness, it will give a characteristic to the system. Okay? This is how Peter Senge is putting it. Okay? So this is essentially the system thinking. Okay? System thinking. So you try to think as a system. I will describe it a little bit more, but you will try to think as a system. That it means you see whole and you see interrelationship and interconnectedness. So that's what you see, whole and a part. You think it's so obvious, but you will find out you cannot do it easily. Okay? And this is system thinking and systems approach. This is taken from Inkoze Systems Engineering Body of Knowledge. I have put all the citations here, so if you're interested, if you want to dig deeper, you can, but I encourage you not to go too far because you are looking at a whole new domain, okay? This is like a tip of the iceberg, or like, I don't know, you're looking at tip of the earth, almost. If you start digging, you will find like hundreds and thousands of literatures and books. So what I'm trying to do here is that I'm just trying to give you a good sense of what the systems approach is and system thinking is. So the systems approach is a way of tackling real-world problem and making use of the concept, principle, and patterns of system thinking to enable systems to be engineered and used. So they use the word engineered, but because they are Inkoze is International Council on Systems Engineering. However, you can just put it manage or build, or you can design. You can put your words in here. So systems approach is utilizing the concept and principle and patterns of systems thinking, which is kind of like this, into the practice. So we can use it, we can utilize it to engineer, manage, design, or implement the target or whatever the system you want to make it happen. Okay? So this is the systems approach. And then systems engineering is a part of a systems approach. Right? You approach as a system. So systems engineering is an engineering type of systems approach. Do you get this? It's too abstract, but yeah, kind of abstract, but you will get it. So here's my way of putting this in a little bit of easier form. Okay? So as a whole and as a part. Okay? So you need to realize you can think as a whole and you can think as a part. I will explain. And interrelationship. In other words, interfaces, or let's see, let's go interconnectedness, or relationship. Or the links, connections. So these are important. And then when you want to think whole and a part, and then you need to be me-see boundary. You need to have a me-see boundary. Me-see, are you all familiar with the term me-see? Mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive, right? So if you bring all together, your me-see parts all together, you get a whole. And then there is no overlapping, there is no lacking information. Is this okay? It's a basic of logical thinking. ミーシー大丈夫ですか？ミッシーとかミーシー。抜けなく、漏れなく、ダブりなく。ですよ。はい。And multiple viewpoints. Multiple viewpoints. When you look at the system, you are looking from a viewpoint. You want to look from different viewpoints to figure out what it really looks like. Three-dimensional drawing. Who has an experience of three-dimensional drawing? So three-dimensional drawing is that you have a front view, top view, and side view. You have top view, front view, and then the side. And then so your object looks like this in a three-dimensional drawing, but the top view gives something like this, and the front view gives something like that, and then your side view gives something like that. And it makes no sense because I wrote cube, right? It was more interesting if I drawn a cone, but I was too dumb to do so. But you know this, right? Sanmenzu. So sanmenzu is a great example of multiple viewpoints. Why do you want to have multiple? I mean, why there are three? Why there are three views? Why not four? Why not five? Yes, because three is enough to mathematically define three-dimensional shape, right? So it's enough. You can say it's enough because your object, this is what you want to get at the end. You know this is three-dimensional, so you know three view will work mathematically. But if you put it this way, if you have created this so many times, like more than 10 years, you probably notice at the end, three is enough by practicing, by exercising this. So we know that three-dimensional require three views, or that's enough. But how about like business? How about let's forget about the cube and let's think about the business. How many views do you think we need? Yes, a lot.
It depends on the program.
It depends on the business, yes. Right. But there are so many views introduced. You probably know some frameworks from business. For example, 3 C's. You know? That's one of the multiple views. What are 3 C's? Competitive. Right. This is 3 viewpoints. Is it enough? No. this, you cannot run business with this only 3. Well, yeah, give it a shot and good luck. Yeah, no one will listen to you. What are other business viewpoints? Yes, SWOT, 4P. What else? Yes, so there are so many. Okay, that's what I want to say. So, how many views do you think you need for business?
As much as you can.
Yeah, almost. Yes, as long as you are satisfied, probably, right? You can just add up views and views and views and views, like finance, management, organization, human resource. There are so many views you can bring it to the business, and we have been doing business for over several years, and we have not found out how many views we need. For physical like this, we know 3 is enough, but for business, we don't know. For a system like a space system, we don't know yet. There are so many. So Department of Defense in the United States, they introduced 52 views. 52 views to represent very sophisticated defense system. It's called DoD Architectural Framework. I can talk about it for 2 days, but I won't. That's one of our expertise. That's one of our expertise that Department of Defense in the United States describes their system with 8 viewpoints and 52 views to give them a complete, almost complete set of describing a system. So, multiple viewpoints. When I put it this way, it sounds scary, but you know this. You know this. For example, kunenasobu. It's a good multiple viewpoints. Yeah, kunenasobu is Japanese. Yeah, it's not English. Kunenasobu. I think that's a good multiple viewpoints. What else? What are the multiple viewpoints you usually use in daily conversation? As a set, few viewpoints as a set. We're not going to get into that. We're not going to do that today because it's still like 10 in the morning. So yeah, we can do that hub later on. You have that? Asahiruban, yes. It's a good viewpoint. It's strong relationship with the time, the phases. But yes, it's one way to look at. Oh, bird's eye, insect eye, and fish eye. There's a representation called fish eye. Okay. Sanpo Yoshi. Yes. Yes. So you look younger than you sound old. Yes, Sanpo Yoshi. Yes. Yeah, Sanpo Yoshi. Can anybody explain that in English? For those who doesn't speak Japanese.
For business.
Yes.
Zero and values and the environment and maybe society. So when you do the business, you need to the good for the value and the zero and for society and the environment.
Right.
That's some points.
Right. Thank you. Good. So that's you trying not just selling yourself and earning money, but you are trying to actually make the buyer appreciate it. Of course, give them a value, and be responsible in an environmental way or societal way. So that's some Polish. Okay? So we know a lot of multiple viewpoints. It is used quite often. But you need to look from different viewpoints to find out what we're talking about, right? Because you're just looking from one viewpoint, what happens? Bad thing will happen, right? Because you will miss out important things. So you always want to have multiple viewpoints. Do you want to have many viewpoints as possible?
Maybe it's confusing.
Exactly. So you want the minimal number to represent your target or your system. Okay? So when I use the term system, I don't mean space system or any specific system. I mean our target. Okay? Anything could be system. For example, the museum at dark, that could be a system, right? Or business could be a system. Or a satellite could be a system. So whenever I use the term system, that could mean anything. And of course, level of abstraction. We talked about this just a little bit when we are doing brainstorming and affinity diagram. Why do you want to control the level of abstraction when we are talking about system? It's because the definition of whole and a part will change dramatically. Dramatically, right? Because, all right, well, I can give you examples. So now I'm going to explain that with examples. So as a whole and a part. So can somebody give me an example of biggest system you can think of?
Ecosystem.
What kind of ecosystem we're talking about?
Earth.
Earth, okay. You think the Earth is the biggest system? Any other? Universe. Space? Okay. So that could be a system. So, right, so Yasu said Earth could be a biggest system, but you are Kenji, right. Kenji said it could be universe. So now we can discuss that as a whole, we can call it universe. As a part, Earth is a part. But we can take Earth into our scope and say Earth is our whole, and then the continent and ocean and the sky is our parts. Right? It's all relative. It's all relative. It happens repeatedly. It's a cascade. We call it cascade or 再帰的 in Nihongo. Yeah, 再帰的. I don't know if I can write that in kanji. So, 再帰的. Okay? 再帰的. It happens over and over. Or on ireko. We often call it ireko jotai, right? So system and a part comes in ireko, or in a cascade, or it happens, it repeats itself. Okay? It repeats itself. So, for example, like we can say human body, like you saw in the video, human body is a complex system, right? But we can of course look into our nerve system, which is a part of our human system, but it's still a complicated system. Nerve system is, right? But you can call it as a part of a human system. So as a whole and a part, it comes in pair, but it comes repeatedly in this cascade or recursive way. So the other way around. Can someone give me an example of smallest system you can think of? Smallest system. Neutron, protons, okay. Who's my advanced physics people here? No? Nobody? Who's from Rikogakubu? Now you're afraid to raise your hand. But can we go further from neutrons and protons? Come on. Yeah. Yeah, like bosons and newtons, and you can go further in. This is quantum physics. Quantum physics, early in 1920s, we found a new world, right? We thought our nucleus or our protons and photons are the smallest, but we found a whole new dimension to go in. That's where CERN people in France is doing, trying to figure out how can we break the electrons or photons into pieces. So, your smallest system is not even smallest. We can go, I don't know how many deeper we can go, but it's still as a whole, Newton as a whole, and there are parts that we need to discuss. So, you see this? There is no biggest system, there is no smallest system. There is a system of interest, okay? The system of your interest does exist. So, it depends on where you set your eye on. Okay? It's very, very important. System of interest. We can abbreviate it to SOI, system of interest. If we do not define system of interest, we cannot talk. Because if me and Taka can start talking about a system, and we don't know where we are, maybe he might be talking about universe, I might be talking about protons. We'll never get to the conclusion. So we need to decide, or we need to agree on what system of interest we're talking about. Okay? This is super important. And when you think about system, so for example, Earth, and I like that Earth and then space. So there's sun, there's Earth, there's a bunch of other friends, right? Yes, so we call this a solar system. Okay, I cannot draw a universe, so I'm sorry, I'm going to just keep it solar system. Solar system. Okay, let's call our Mother Earth a system of interest. Our system of interest. SOI, abbreviation. Who are my contexts? Yeah, Sun is of course one. Yeah, the other friends. Yeah, like Mars, Jupiter, and I don't know. Yeah. Well, I need to confess. Me and Yoki Sensei, we're a system, space system people, right? Maybe Yoki Sensei is different. Shirafaka Sensei is space system people. We have very little interest in stars. Did you know? People do ask about holograms. I have no idea. 僕ら全然星座とかほとんど分からない。僕ら宇宙船作るの大好きだけど、星座とか惑星とかほとんど分かんないですよね。Yes. So this is interesting about space system people. We're so much interested in space engineering, but we're not interested in Mars or Jupiter. Okay. Yeah, that was a confession. Anyways, so. Yes, if my system of interest is Earth, then these are my contexts. So neighborhood, right? How about now my solar system is my system of interest. What are my contexts?
Other something system.
Exactly. Other Interstellar. Have you watched the movie yet? I haven't. Not good? Not yet? Okay. Okay, well, so there are other suns, right? Other suns has other systems. So if I take this as my new system of interest, then this will be my new context, right? Like, I don't know, a black hole somewhere around could be my context. So it changes. So what I want you to try to understand is that we can use the term context depending on the system of interest, what we are talking about. It changes. It changes on the topic of which system we're talking about. And then the system always have a whole and a part. All right? So this is the fundamental you need to understand when we talk about system thinking. I know it's like a mind twisting, but you always need to think about that. So if we take this class as a whole, you guys, what are parts? Like a team, yes. Team could be parts. What else? Like individual could be parts, right? And if we take this group of people as a system, what are our contexts? This group of people as a system, what are our contexts? Other groups in different rooms, maybe, yes. Or if we just focus on the human here, this building could be our context, right? Which is supporting us, right? So this is how you interpret the system and context. And you need to be, I can kind of skip to this here. We need to be careful with the boundary, where we set our boundary. You don't want to have an ambiguous boundary. Then you get lost in what you're talking about. What if I kind of start mixing up the stars of our system and this system? What if this was ambiguous? What happens? Then things get really messy, right? So you want to be very exact on where the boundaries are, right? When I talk about Earth, do I contain Moon or do I not? Right? I need to decide. Is atmosphere around Earth, is that part of Earth? Is it part of the universe? I need to decide. I need to make a decision on where is my boundary. Okay? Otherwise, this discussion will go crazy. Yes. Because, yes, okay. And another thing about system thinking, interrelationship. Let's take, here's an example. Example of interrelationship with you and a person next to you. Give me some example of interrelationship or interface or interconnectedness of you and the person next to you. What are they? What's that?
Language.
Language, yes. You share common language. Post-it, yes, that could be interrelationship. Okay. What else? Or interface. PowerPoint. Yeah, look, you're looking at PowerPoint. So this is it relating you to. Okay. What else? Whiteboard paper. Yes. So those are more interfaces. And for example, physical interrelationship, you have a distance, right? You have a certain distance. And of course, in between you, there's an air between you, right? You share this air, I don't know. But vocal sound, right? It's connecting you two. And then maybe you like the person sitting next to you. You know, feeling, absolutely, is interconnecting you. So you need to be looking at very different interrelationships in your elements or your parts. Your part is not only connected physically or as an interface, but it's many interrelations are not visual. So this and that is interconnected, right? This microphone and that system is interconnected over Wi-Fi or some kind of wireless network. So this is easy. But when we take a human as a system, then there's a feeling, there's like, I don't know, there's many kind of feelings, and there are many kind of other non-visual relationships. And like if you take business, okay, let's take Honda and Toyota. What kind of interrelationship do we have in between two parts? Yes, we're pulling the customers, yes. What else? Technology, well, yeah, maybe, yes, technology. Competition, yes, competition is an interrelationship between Toyota and Honda. Resources, yes, many different resources.
Japanese company.
Other Japanese companies, yes, right. So there are so many interrelationships between two parts. Okay? So you need to find out, don't just look at one part, one interrelation, but different interrelation needs to be clarified to understand the system. So these two are fundamental that you must cover, and then these three will help you to understand as a whole, as a part, and interrelationship. So one is a MISI boundary. MISI boundary, how do you divide people in this room? How can you divide MISI? Men, you're right, male and female. Age, yes. If we set certain age groups, then we can completely, right? We can completely divide these groups, yes? Nationality, yes. Some people have two, though. So, right, so you need to be careful. So, MISI is not the scientific truth that we're trying to find out, but it's a definition. It's all by definition, all right? So it's how we define. So it's not about finding the absolute truth, but trying to find the good definition to divide. So here's a good exercise. You can think, I'm not going to do this in the class, but you all have phones, right? Some kind of. And you have a phone book inside. Phone book. Can you divide your phone book into 3 MISI groups? Absolutely MISI groups. Okay? That's a homework to think about. Well, yeah, you can do it or not. You can choose not to do it, but it's a good exercise. Okay? So MISI is by definition. So you can call it, you can say, the people I like, people I don't like, people I don't care. I don't know if that's MISI, but if you give them a very clear definition, then that's okay. As long as it's as defined, it's okay. Yeah? So there was one example. People who you want to call, people who you want to be called, people you don't care, or something like this was one example that I got from this student. And I don't know if that's a MISI, but that's a good try, at least. So this is very, very important. You want to know the boundary. You want to know the boundary of your system, and also you want to know the boundary of each part. Right? Because otherwise, again, you'll be confused. What are you talking about? Is moon a part of the Earth or it's not? Right? Is I don't know, some some comet that comes around the sun like every 1,000 years, is that a part of a solar system? We need to define. Otherwise, this can cause you a lot of trouble. Because if this comet, you know, Suisei, is a part of a solar system, then this is not a context. It's a part of a system, right? But if you exclude this from this group of system, then this is a context now. So it changes. It changes. It's all relative. Okay. And multiple viewpoints. Again, with what perspective do you divide people in this room? For example, gender was one perspective. What else? What other perspective we can take to divide people in this room into a MISI group?
Student professional.
Yes, students and workers, yes.
So wearing glasses or not?
Ah, okay. With the, yes, the physical characteristics is one viewpoint. Okay, so I'm talking about not how we define, but with what respect or what perspective we stand on to divide. I'm talking about viewpoints. So can you give me some example of viewpoints to divide this group into a MISI group?
Windows and Mac.
What's that?
Windows and Macintosh.
Oh, okay. So Mac users and Windows. So the computer preference. Okay? So I'm trying to get you to the viewpoint level. Okay? It's a little bit more abstract. Is this room so hot, or am I'm the only one? It's hot, right? Yes. So can you? Yeah. All right. Any other viewpoints?
Place of birth.
What's that?
Place of birth.
Place of birth. Yes, it's a good viewpoint. Right. The location of birth. Right. So these are viewpoints to give you MISI boundaries, or you need to set your viewpoints correct. Otherwise, again, you cannot get the MISI grouping or MISI boundary, or this boundary gets very, very ambiguous. Ambiguous. All right. Uncertainty and ambiguous is so different. Well, this is like an English talk, but uncertainty is uncertainty. The ambiguous is not appreciated. Uncertainty is okay, but ambiguous we need to avoid. We need to avoid because we don't. It will cause us mess. So that's one thing. All right. So viewpoint is a very, very important aspect. And again, level of abstraction. So what level of abstraction are you talking about? So let's talk about this group. Let's talk about this group. Okay, what are the contexts of this group? Like we said, the group in the other room, right? Or we can talk about the rest of the world. Yeah? We can talk about rest of the world. But the level of abstraction is so different. So different. We can talk about Jupiter and us. Right? If it makes any sense. If it makes any sense. It doesn't, right? It does not. If we talk about sun and this group, I don't think we're doing anything on the sun. Sun is doing a lot to us, but we're not doing anything to the sun. Hopefully we're not. But so we need to control the level of abstraction, because if we confuse on this, we have no idea what we're talking about. Because you can bring everything on the table and discuss. We can bring Jupiter, Comet, and Sun, and everybody on the table and try to discuss how we can group these people. But it's all irrelevant. The abstraction level is way off. So when we talk about this system and the part, we need to decide what level of abstraction we want to stay on. Okay? All right? And how about like we talk about universe as a whole and this as a part? How about that? No, not a good idea. Why? This universe as a whole, okay? Universe as a system, and this thing as a part of a system. Why is not so good?
Small, intelligent, small.
It's too small to understand the whole, right? What would be the good size of the part when we talk about our system or our universe? Maybe solar system is a good size, right? So you need to decide what we talk about. What we talk about. Otherwise, you get too many parts, and you get so many interrelationships, and you'll get lost. Are you with me? This is like, I don't know. I cannot put it in slides, so I decided to talk and give you some interactive seminar on this. So these are, yes?
So what do you think? how many boundaries are enough?
Ah, good question. So how many parts do you think it's enough? Yes. We have certain number. But can you guess? How many parts do you think will be good to have in your whole or system? Guess, yeah?
I think it depends on the situation, but at least 3.
At least 3, okay. Let's take that, okay. Any other idea? I want a whiteboard somewhere here. Any other idea? How many number of elements or parts do you think it would be good to have in your system?
Maybe 10 or...
Maybe 10? Why?
Because it needs to compare with other parts.
Yeah.
So if it's like of more than 50, it's very, very takes time to compare.
Right. At 50, then you cannot see all of them.
Yeah.
Any other idea? Yasu, how about you?
I like 3.
You like 3, okay. 2 votes for 3.
But I think it's too small.
Too small, okay. Any other ideas? Okay, who agrees 50 is too much? Who agrees? Okay, good. Who thinks 1 is too small? Okay. Who thinks 2 is okay? 2 is okay, okay. Who likes 3? Who thinks 5 is okay? 7? 9? 10? More than 10. Or you're sophisticated. Right, okay, so I think different people have different opinion, but in systems engineering world or system thinking world, it is said to be 5 to 7 is enough. Because our brain cannot take more information than 7 at a time. Maybe some of you can, I can't. Okay, so it is said to be maybe 7 at tops. And then, yes, as minimal as 2 or 3, but 2, it's very, very difficult to divide everything into 2, right? And that causes a war, right? So we should not try to split everything into 2, but 3 is more common. 3 is more common. You probably have seen many like company strategies and company principles divided into 3 pieces, right? Like Sampo Yoshi is one of them. And you know, there are so many 3s, and then there are so many 5s in the company if you start working. You'll see so many figures look like this, or so many figures that looks like this. Yes, you will see plenty of this. Or you will see something look like that. Yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of working people are laughing because you see this all the time. Yeah, and if you see something like that, don't look at it because it's not organized usually. It's not organized, it's still in the process of trying to figure out. Okay? And if you look this, then you need to be careful. It might be something really, really important and good. It might be missing out a lot of things. Or it's just too abstract to understand something that's important. So you will see so many things like this. And so in practice, to answer Yasu's question, 3 to 5 to 7. And it depends on. So what I tried for my system design for my satellite, I started out with 5 elements. 5 elements, because otherwise I could not follow what I was designing. And of course it became a huge system, but that's how I tried to keep it simple. So very good question. It really depends on the level of abstraction you're choosing. Because if you set it too high, then you'll have so many elements. If you set it too low, then you have very few elements. So that's how you put it. Okay, good. So this is
Can I ask you?
yes, please.
If I find one perspective viewpoint,
Yes.
it can divide us in 3
Yes.
groups. And I found
Yes, since we're recording, we need to be smart.
I find
one more perspective viewpoint, and we can divide us in 4 groups.
Yes.
And we can use both
Yes.
as 20.
Yes.
No, 12, sorry.
Yes.
20. And do you use that kind of double viewpoints to make missing boundaries?
Good question. You want to have, this is, okay, terminology might sound a little technical, but you want to find orthogonal viewpoints. You can look it up online. Professor Agino will answer this question. But think about the 3 views that we draw for a cone. Right? So these 3, top view, and then the front and side. Let's talk about the relationship between this viewpoint and this viewpoint and this viewpoint. They are what? They are 90 degrees, right? They are 90 degrees. They are in the right angle. Right angle is a 90 degrees. That's how 直角. They are 直行. viewpoint. You want something like this, so that you are not bothered by how it looks like from this guy, but this will complement この他のビューが他のビューをこう補完するように本当は綺麗に分けたい。本当はね。But let's think about the business example. It's very difficult to have every view to be orthogonal. It's closely related. If it's completely orthogonal, we can say it's independent. Right? It's really nice to have independent viewpoints because then it's so easy to integrate them together. Yeah? Are you with me? Too mathematic? No? Good? Yes. It's still, yeah, it's kind of a lot of thinking, but you kind of get intuitively. So if you have very, very close viewpoint, let's talk about the physical viewpoint. If I stand here and see you guys, and if I stand here and see you guys, this is my viewpoint 2 and viewpoint 1. What these 2 viewpoints give me? Nothing much, right? Because I can see what I can see from here. But if I stand here, now I see this bag, which I did not see from there. And many more information I did not see from there, right? And because it's orthogonal, I see what I see from there, what I see from here could be added, mathematically added in a simple way, right? So because there are less overlaps. So you want to find your views so that it's hopefully orthogonal, or close to orthogonal, or close to independent. If it's highly dependent, then you have to be careful. If these 2 viewpoints are very, very close and dependent or interrelated, if I change this, if I look at this system and change this like that, then it's going to cause a lot of trouble from when I look at from this viewpoint because that thing is changed. Right? So you need to be very careful what you are doing with and where you are standing and then how you choose your viewpoint. But that's a great question because that's essential about, I think that's a question that you understood the concept very well.
Can I ask one
Yeah.
question? If I divide us wearing glasses or not, and one more perspective is nationality.
Yes.
I thought it was independent each other, but I don't know if it's true or not.
Right.
The goodness of eyesight depends on nationality.
Yes.
You say that. You said be careful about that.
Exactly.
There is a secret rule or something.
Yes, exactly. Yes, you're getting to the ahead of our lectures, but yes, we need to be very, very careful what kind of interrelationship these 2 viewpoints might have. Like, yes, it's true. Statistically, Japanese people have more, wearing glasses issue than other countries. So those are we don't know all the relationships. So we need to be careful. So we need to examine. We need to examine once you set your viewpoint. Once you set your viewpoint, you need to examine if this viewpoint and this viewpoint, how is it related. So it's so rare or almost very near to impossible to find orthogonal viewpoints to something that you don't know. This is three-dimensional shape. We know it, so it's easy, right? But something like business or something like a big, I don't know, campaign, we don't know how many viewpoints we need. And we don't know what viewpoint related to what. And not only two viewpoints are connected, we might have 3 or 4 or 5, 6 or 7 viewpoints interrelated. So you want to examine where it's connected to where. Okay? And this discussion does help you to understand the material we're going to talk about today. So this sheet of paper is very, very important. And I want you to be thinking about this all the time today. All the time today. And all the time the rest of your life. Okay? You are always you think as a whole or a part. And then you are always want to focus on the interrelationship or interdependency. And then you always want to try to find a boundary missing. Otherwise, you're gonna get messy whole and apart relationship. And multiple viewpoints. You want to find the views. You want to find a viewpoint that works the best for your solution. And you want to be careful with the level of abstraction. Okay? So, this is the last slide before the break. So why system approach beneficial for entrepreneurs in global context? So we've done a lot of discussion on this, right? Do you think this is important for entrepreneurs? Okay, let's ask. Who thinks this is important for entrepreneurs? And can answer why? Okay, can you give me like why this is important for entrepreneur in global context? Nobi, try.
I think the first thing the entrepreneur has to do is a focused program, a defined program, a focused program, and how to describe. It helps how to describe the something or interesting.
So you need to define what you're talking about.
We're talking about. What the entrepreneurs want to do.
Right, because you cannot do everything. Exactly. You want to know your boundary.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And of course, you want to know your context as well, right? Your context could be competitor, your collaboration, your partners, and your, I don't know, opponents. And it could, your context is very, very important to find out. Good. Any other idea? Why is it, Joe?
Maybe I think to be innovative, I think in the previous lecture, it said that we need to be out of the box. And in order to be out of the box, we need to know the whole things. So I think that the system thinking, especially whole and part thinking, is necessary.
Okay, yes. Thank you. I agree. And, sorry, I can't see. Kai?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I'll get you.
So I like to add what Bill says is that the system thinking will provide entrepreneurs with his box is now, and then the entrepreneur will think about the missing boundaries. Then he can know his boundary. Then he can decide which aspect is good for the innovation.
Right. So what to focus on? Because you have very limited resource, right? You don't work for a big company, or your project is not yet supported by many people. You need to know your boundary. You need to fight with your small resource. Then you cannot fight with the universe. You need to fight with the people around you. So you need to find out who's the system and what the whole is, where you are as a part, right? Good. And we had one more? Yes. Sorry, what was your name? Can I see your name then?
My name is Satoshi.
Satoshi, okay.
I think it is important to divide people to find a customer.
Okay.
I mean, a business person need to clarify their targets.
Yes.
I mean, who wants your product or
Yes.
who wants your service?
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely correct. And do you want to follow what everyone else is following? Do you want to follow the viewpoint that everyone else is following? Do you want to do that? Do you want to have the same viewpoint of the customer as Apple has? Probably not, right? You want to have your own definition of customers and own segmentation, right? So what I'm saying is that when you talk about customer, you always go, hey, it's a female, it's around 25 to 29 who works like in a company like this, who earns this much money. This is called marketing and segmentation, right? But that's very ordinary segmentation. Every people has that viewpoint. If you're an entrepreneur, you want to redefine your segmentation. I think Apple iPhone is a great example because their segmentation was, their customer was whose thumb was long enough to reach here and there, right? This was their customer segmentation to begin with. So, big iPhone 6. Yeah, I regret buying this, but the first iPhone, it was a perfect lens so that your thumb reaches to the left and to the top end. So that was designed, okay? That's how they segmented their customers. It's really interesting. It's not about only the genders and ages, which we always used to do. They went out of the box and segmented their customers. And you're absolutely correct that you need to be careful on who you want to make a target on. So, yes, I think you all said this. System approach is to understand exactly what you need to do, right? You want to set the boundary. You want to know what you need to do because you are limited resource, limited time, money, and to provide a valid solution, okay? To provide a valid solution. You want to do it right. You want to do the right thing. So this is important. You need to understand the context to make a valid solution, right? Because if you misunderstand the context, what do you end up with? The end one. I told you the sad story of my experience of making a very nice motorcycle, sold almost none. Yes. So that was not a valid solution, but that was the right engineering. But you want to provide a valid solution, right? And of course, to leverage on existing solution, this means you want to understand the context. You want to understand the context and you want to leverage on. You don't want to reinvent the wheels. Do you understand that? 車輪をもう一回開発しちゃダメですよってやつですね。わかります？ローマ時代に作られた車輪をもう一回開発したらアホです。使えと。車輪は使えと。あるんだから。でも、ちゃんとそれを認識してないと、もう一回車輪から開発し直しちゃうわけです。これダメよ。つまり、インターネットがあるんだったら使えと。さっきのクックパッドのシステムがあるんだったら使えと。So you want to know what are the existing solutions. Use them as your context. Or maybe a part of your whole or system, right? You don't want to mess around with the existing solutions and waste your time and money and resource. So this is important with a systems approach or system thinking. It helps you to understand existing solutions. And to deal with complexity, the scale, and dynamics. I'm not going to get into this detail, but with a system approach, the whole and the part and the interrelationship, you can design very complex system with a very simple diagram. So don't think, this is what I really want to emphasize, why we do this in this Keio EDGE program for entrepreneurs. If you think the entrepreneurs can do simple things, don't think like that. Because if you have the right method to think about it, then you can fight in the field of complexity, scale, and dynamics. Okay? It's not only for big firms. For example, you can be a successful venture company in smart grid system if you have the right way to think about this. Okay? It's not only you developing an iPhone app. That's a typical entrepreneurship or typical ICT entrepreneurship, information communication system type entrepreneur. That's a lot out there because it's nice and small, and it does require you less resources. But if you can think right, you can still be successful in smart grid, space system. You can. You can. Think about Amazon. Is it a simple, small venture company? No. But his idea was crazy, seemed crazy, but he had a very good vision and then a very concrete concept that he will be successful. So if you are not familiar with Bezos' story, please take a look at his story, and then it's fascinating. I really like his story because it's his entrepreneurship and his venture company or startup is not aiming for something small. Facebook, it's app, right? It's an app. It doesn't require much resource. Now it does because of the server and everything. But to start up, it doesn't require much resource. But in case of Amazon, it required the hardware. It required the storage, right? It required logistics. It's more hardcore resource consumption venture company or idea. But he pushed it through. So if you have the right mindset and the right tools, you can fight in a complexity, large scale, and dynamic system or dynamic field. So this is what I want. This is why I want you to try to be familiar with the system engineering mindset, because this will give you the feeling that you can deal with more complex, more difficult, more dynamic system. And you don't think it's complex, you don't think it's a too large scale, you don't think dynamic because you know how to deal with this, okay? If you don't know systems approach, then the story you're telling looks so complicated, so dynamic, and so big scale that an entrepreneur or venture company cannot handle. So this is something really, really important that systems approach benefit the entrepreneurs in global scale. Okay? And to tackle domain free. So thinking in a system does not require you certain domain. It does require you to think in the system domain, but it does not require you to be an engineer or a scientist or artist or a business person. It requires you to be logical and somewhat creative. So I love this aspect of the systems approach. And systems approach is beneficial for entrepreneurs to design and implement your solution right. Of course, right? So this is all the things you said already, but this is why we are bringing this segment into the entrepreneurship education here at Keio EDGE. We want you to go up one notch higher the ladder, and then you will see world differently. You will find your complex system not anymore, right? You will find your complex so-called complex system not anymore complex for you because you know how to deal with it. So this is what I want you to be familiar with, and you will be at the end of the day. Wow. All right. Well, let's take a 10-minute break until 45, and then we will go until 12:30 like we did last Monday. So let's take a 10-minute break and come back. All right? So let's be back at 45. Sure. Well, yes. There
art, segmentation of system science. They're trying to analyze and work on the system thinking mindset. Basically, system dynamics with business dynamics. Those are different system dynamics. Yeah. So, yes. Okay, so other things you can dig in is that business dynamics, system dynamics, system science, and system engineering. So those are all system approaches. Yeah. Well, not in this is a systems engineering concept, so you may want to type in, just Google it. System approach will give you a lot of other literature. Yeah. Okay. Exactly. You are absolutely right. Yeah. So I'm just putting it so that people think this is relevant. So I want to put it in a more general way that I think all the logical people should engage in that way of thinking. Yes. Thanks for asking. Cutting trees. I see. Interesting. You have to have a lot of them. Try to steal. Interesting. Yeah. Who's stealing it? Interesting. Yes. Yeah, you put it, yes, you put it in a nice way so that it shows that you This might be a good social
Actually, I
I found it in Facebook, and then I found three people have friends in common with us. Paul, you know Paul?
Oh, yeah, Paul. You went there with him?
Not only
Yeah, every weekend. Yeah, and probably all the relation is from there. Maybe some German. I'm gonna find the name.
That's okay. Thanks for sharing.
I cannot brown
Fabian?
Okay, I'll check it later.
Are you also Norman?
Okay.
The Fabian is from Switzerland.
Oh, really? Actually, I don't remember that much, but we're from that.
Well, yeah, they're together. They came together and well, we did.
Yeah, probably they came they participated in everything in 1 year later. I met them. Well, I always ask Bangkok people. It was the last time I found that I have a friend in Bangkok. She's a bit free. Like hotel or whatever. I told my friend my friend was teaching me that I want to know how much famous I'm not sure.
The last time mentioned creating the folder, creating
In Thailand, we're like others in the world. We have a huge difference between the and only lots of very, very small group that might people in Bangkok. Everybody knows everybody. If you know someone, then you know it's such a small world. Don't say the same people. Like you went to the same international school and either go to the States or go to the UK. But yeah, I get But yeah, they're very, very
I met my friend's friend. What I need to prove art is like see it read, but not that kind of reaction. See power. I didn't talk expect that. So that's what I expect.
Can you show me her last name?
Okay, so it's 11:45, so I'm gonna start. But now, do you agree that we should probably do this lecture today? I mean, are you interested in systems approach, the system thinking? Good, good. Because otherwise, without this explanation, I spent so many hours on this. Because otherwise, you don't probably appreciate why we do system thinking and systems approach for entrepreneurship education. But I think with, as a side to this small lecture element, the videos I think really help you to understand the approach. And if you have already looked at the video, please take a look at it again after this lecture, because it will mean probably a little bit different. You will understand better why I want you to know this. I don't want you to become, like I wrote on the email, I don't want you to all to become systems engineer. No, that's not my intention. But I want you to be able to think and sometimes behave like systems engineer, like super systems engineer who can work for NASA, right? The gently guy, yeah? Yes. So I want you to become like him. No. So if you haven't taken a look at the strongly recommended video of NASA, please do so. You'll love him. I can guarantee you will love him. All right. Do you know what I'm talking about? Who doesn't know what I'm talking about? Okay, I can show you. So it's a video. I'm not going to spend many hours on this, but it's a video that I sent you. You all got this, right? You all got the link to the video, right? And so this is this guy. So it's not this guy. So he speaks for 5 minutes. So you think this is, oh my God, this is going to be super boring. Yes, this guy is, yes, very NASA headquarters guy. He is a typical NASA headquarters.
The work that he did on Lightning. Also, he has received the Distinguished Service
We
Medal.
we all love this guy, right? But not him that we want to see. So you need to skip for about 5 minutes to see our Mickey Mouse to show up, okay?
Okay, check the mic first, make sure it's working. You can all hear me fine? All right. What are we going to do today? We're going to have fun, and we're going to learn something. I'm going to share some points of view. You'll agree with them, disagree with them, whatever. I want you to at least think about them. Now, why am I here, and what am I going to do that's different than when I was up here in June of 2005? In June of 2005, I gave a talk on systems engineering and what attributes you had to have in order to be a good systems engineer. But that entire talk was aimed at how, okay? And it assumed that something was already defined to be engineered. Okay. Now there are two questions that come before that. If what you do is you back off far enough from all the things that we do, the flow of primary questions, if you allow me to invoke that sort of phrase, goes like this. Why, what, and then how. Okay? So what I'm going to talk about is what is the system engineer's role when the dominant questions are why and what. And because everybody likes lists from Letterman to Lee, okay, or however you want to do it, I'm going to eventually give you the top 10 attributes of a system engineer who plays in this why-what field more than the how field.
So that's what I want you to understand. You need to play in why and what field. You remember the first day I showed you how, what, and why and what and how, and you will be playing around with all these fields. Okay? You need to be comfortable talking about why. You need to be comfortable defining your what. You need to be comfortable discussing the hows. And I want you to try to orchestrate all these discussions. So you need to act like him. Okay, so that's the intention. So this is one of the videos that I sent you. So please take a look at him. And yes, it's really fun. And he talked a little bit about engineering, but it's more of a general discussion that he does. And it's really easy to understand. He talks a lot and fast and funny. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. Yes. All right. So I hope now you understand why this is relevant. And then we had a question from, sorry, Remy? Okay, we had a question from Remy. Hey, Kane, I think this is not only important for entrepreneurs, but everybody. Yes, I agree to Remy. Yes, I do agree. If you want to become a logical person and relevant person in a company or any kind of group of organization, this is important. You have to think like this. Not only entrepreneurs, but if you are strong entrepreneurship in you, then you do this, you will become a successful one. So, all right. So you probably can answer all the quizzes I have from now on. Which one is the system? What's that? All of them? Okay, let's ask. Who thinks this is a system? Raise your hand. I want to see your hand. Right. Yes, you're correct. If you don't think this is a system, you should wear glasses. Okay? Who thinks this is a system? Yes, we just said this is a system. It consists of parts and it serves as a whole, right? What about this? Who can describe this as a system? Describe. Want to try? Ready?
Where you brought and
yes.
where you pick up some.
Yes, okay, yes. So there's a different part where your hand comes in and where you pick up food. Yes. Or the other way to put it is you have two woods, right? Two woods, that's an element, that interact with your context, which external system, which is your hand, and serves as a food picking up functionality. So that's how we call this a system. Yeah? Okay, good. So, definition of a system. I have not clarified our definition, but I am almost following this system definition. An interacting combination of elements to accomplish a defined objective. These include hardware, software, firmware, people, information, technique, facilities, services, and other support elements. So this is actually from Inkoze Systems Engineering Handbook. I'm just giving you these references because if you're really interested in this, I want you to take a look. This is the International Systems Engineering Council Systems Engineering Handbook. I think you can buy this off from American Amazon. If you go to Amazon.com and then you can buy this, $130 if you buy them. But if you're paying for this book, this highly encourages you become a member of Inkoze personal. Then you can download it for free. And becoming an Inkoze member is about like $100, I guess. Then you get the book for free. So book is $130. To become a member of Inkoze is $100. You do the math, right? So, right. And so this is the almost the definition that we're following. But sometimes this doesn't apply. Accomplish a defined objective. Sometimes, your system may not have a defined objective, like solar system. Does solar system have defined objective? You're asking the wrong guy, probably. You need to ask somebody up there, right? If there is somebody up there, he or she may know this. But, so, like a natural system or a solar system may not have a defined objective, but it still does exist as a combination of interacting elements. Sure? So, we are following this. And another definition from ANSI is American National Standard Institute, and an aggregation of end product and enabling product to achieve given purpose. So I will explain. These are three basic things for systems approach. Okay, all system consists of end product and enabling product. So all system consists of these two products. Okay. I will explain why and how. All system has subsystems. Okay, so it's a whole and a part discussion, and all system has its life cycle. All right, no matter what system we're talking about. So these are three, again, really important things that I want you to remember. So in addition to all the discussion we had earlier, in addition to this is the characteristics of system. Any system, regardless of domain, systems engineering, systems science, no matter business, space system, community, organization, any system can have this characteristic, starting from the end product and enabling product. So all systems consist of end product and enabling product. This looks scary, but just think simple. So this is your system, right? System of interest as a whole. Then your whole always have an end product. Of course, that's what you want, right? Let's call this end product. You want this at the end. So this is your system. So I can call this end product. However, to able to get this, to realize this, I have many enabling products. これ日本語は補助的成果物です。補助的成果物で、so end product is what you get, and this is what's helping to realize. Okay, and according to NSI EIA 632, this is mainly for Yoke-sensei. What is it mainly used in? In the what field? In general, is it?
Basically engineering.
Basically engineering.
Not
Yes.
specific for software.
Okay. Engineering. Okay, it's more generic standard in basically in the United States. But they say enabling product can be MISI division into these. Actually 7 things. So again, 7. So development product, production products, test product, deployment product, training product, support product, and disposal product. So this is just a definition. I don't want you to memorize all this, but I want you to know there is a end product and an enabling product to your system. So what do you mean is that, let's take an example. So what if let's see, who has a food on the table? Anybody? Snack? Food? Okay, let's take this udon-cha. Okay? Udon-cha. So you appreciated udon-cha so much that it's all left, just small portions left, right? You appreciated that udon-cha. So let's call our udon-cha is our system. Okay, this is now my system of interest. All right? My udon-cha, the tea, the liquid. It is the liquid. It's appreciated by your ryo, right? Yeah, ryo. Okay, this is my system. And it consists of end product and then enabling product. Okay. I'm trying to explain the definition. So end product is the tea, right? The liquid itself. But I can say that container, the bottle is a part of enabling product. Right? If I define my liquid as my my system, now out of battery. Yeah, so my liquid as a system, then my bottle is an enabling product. If I see my tea in the bottle as a system, then it's different, right? System of interest is different. My system of interest is a liquid inside. Now it's a liquid inside. I can say that's enabling product. That's making my end product available or realized. So this is how it's defined. It depends on what you're looking at. Okay? This may be a good example or maybe not for some of you, but for example, I developed satellites, right? Do you know satellites? It goes around the Earth. I developed satellites, and satellite needs to go up in space. How? Do you know how? Who takes satellite up in space? Superman? No. It's a rocket. It's a rocket that takes satellite into the space. So satellite is my system, and it's my end product, and my rocket is deployment product. It's just helping me to get there, right? My satellite system is in full service when it's in orbit, right? When it's in orbit, 軌道に行った時に最大価値を発揮してるわけで、それが私のシステム。で、衛星そのものはエンドプロダクトなんだけど、
でもそこの最終的なシステムとしてちゃんと機能するためにはディプロイメントプロダクトとしてロケットがないとそこにはいけないわけです。なので私のエンドプロダクトはサテライトで私のディプロイメントプロダクトはロケット。Okay? So that's the case. If I work for Mitsubishi Heavy Industry like someone does in this room, then your project is rocket, right? Your project is to launch a rocket. And they don't care about what they do, but they don't care about the satellites. But their mission is to provide the transportation to the orbit. So their end product is a rocket, and then the satellite is, I don't know, maybe support product, or maybe, yeah, somewhere around there maybe. Okay? So it's vice versa. It's different. Because why that happens? Your system of interest is different. Understood? So this happens a lot. This happens a lot, and it gives you a good idea what you're talking about and what you're not talking about. So you need to understand this. Second thing you need to know is that all system has subsystems. Yeah.
So should we decide what is system of interest and what is end product?
Yes. Yes, if you want to make sure, or if you want to make it clear to communicate with others, you must need to clarify this. But it's not, I'm saying you do not have to follow exact definition, but you have to be thinking. From different people, your final product may not look like an end product. For some people, if you are manufacturing the bottle, then your bottle is an end product, but your customer, the terminal customer, or your real user of the tea does not think your end product as an end product.
So which part will be the liquid included?
So maybe it will be, you can say, well, from this definition, this is more of a, for a satellite or car or something like this, or maybe you can say it's a support product. If you know, when it's on the market, it's trying to, when this bottle is used, it's supporting its use. So you can say maybe it's a support product.
Everything categorized into the 8 boxes?
No, I don't think so. But because this is just a definition, right? So this is like trying to get it meaty. But almost everything can divide it into end product and enabling product. I think that's safely you can say yes.
So sometimes you only use 2 boxes when you want to categorize that clone.
Yeah, like this. Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah. Fine.
I'd like to ask the definition.
Yeah.
Could you going back to the other one?
Yes.
So I'm wondering whether, for example, development product is also recognized as a system, and then it's also have the end product or other.
So now, what if this is your system of interest? That's what you're asking. Yes, that happens. That happens. If you are developing a satellite and you are in charge of the development product that to realize the satellite, then if you're a project manager for that, then yes, you are in charge of that system. But it's all relative. It's all relative. But if you're talking to me as a satellite manager, you cannot call your system a system because I'll be, what? What are you talking about? Right? So you have to understand who she or he or she is talking, what he or she is talking about, and where you are. Yep. So again, whole and a part. You're always in this paradigm, okay? Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Satoshi, you had a question? Yeah.
Which is more important, end product or enabling product? I'd like to hear your opinion.
Both is important. Otherwise, you will never get system.
But which is more essential, or
both are? Because, like we said, so what if you don't have a bottle for your tea? What if you don't have a tea for your tea bottle? It doesn't make a system, right? I mean, so both are required to realize the system. Yeah, both are required.
Okay? It's a conceptual, so you don't have to get it right now, but you will probably understand as we move along. Okay? And another thing that we want to make it clear is all system has subsystems. Okay? So system, like Yasuda asked us, end product and enabling product. And then your end product can break it up into subsystems. For example, I erased my solar system, but if my solar system is a system, an end product, I don't know what the enabling products are, but yes, end product, then my sun, my earth, my Jupiter is my subsystem. Okay? And you may want to call like subsystem, subsystem, but no. According to definition, there is always 2 layers. Okay? So if you want to go deeper, you start calling this your system of interest, and you break it down to a subsystem. So you don't call, by definition, you don't call system, subsystem, and subsystem, and subsystem. It's always system and subsystem relationship all over again. Again, recursive, 再帰的. Okay? Whole and a part. Whole and a part. It's all over again. So I think you already know that philosophy, so this is not surprising. But it's actually defined internationally that this is how you understand system. Okay? Good. And another thing that's really important, all system has its life cycle. So life cycle is like, think about your life. Okay? You as a system, human. When your life cycle starts? Born, yes. December 3rd. That's the date my second child will born. Probably. Yes. He's a boy, and we're waiting for him. It's a few more days. So, and I'm not at home. Teaching. So, yes. You assume what's going to happen later on. Right. So if I get the call, I need to go. So yeah, good luck with everything else. Right. So yes, human starts when it's born. When is the end of your life cycle? When you die, right? So that's a life cycle. Exactly the same with your system. Okay? Exactly the same with your system. So there is a beginning for the solar system. I don't know when, who knows when, and there is an end to the solar system. I don't know when, and no one knows when, but there is an end. So when you think about the life cycle, every system has a life cycle. Every system has a life cycle. And this is the ISO definition, International Standard Organization definition of a life cycle, system life cycle. This is more of an engineered system like cars or satellite or things like this. So think about it. Let's say this is a satellite development team. We start. It's no joke because you have Yoke-sensei and me, and we have food. We can do satellites. Yeah? And so we're at the concept stage. We start thinking about our satellite. That's where our satellite born. Okay? We start thinking. It's born. It's not born yet, but it's born inside our brain. So that's the beginning. Okay? And it moves along. So development stage, we start developing. Okay? After we design, concept design, we start developing. And then after development, we start producing, right? We produce. And then we utilize, meaning satellite launch, and then it's up in space and it's working. And sometimes it needs a support, right? Sometimes you need to stop the service and then maybe check up and do maintenance a little bit. And then after a while, it retires. We need to bring it down. Well, sometimes we do and sometimes we don't, but we need to discard, right? We need to throw it away. So that's the end. That's the end. So every system has a life cycle. Even business. For example, like startup. If you are starting up a business, you're here, right? You're planning, you're preparing, and then you can say you're in the development, you're like buying stuff, right? Like you're trying to buy stuff, or maybe you're trying to ask people to join. And then production, well, maybe you can skip the product. This is just a general reference, so some system may not follow this. So you need to be thinking what stage you are in, where are you, what your system will be at, right? So, and then when your business is running, it's a running stage or operation stage, and at some point, your business go retirement, right? Or there are several ways to exit your exit from your business. What? IPO, like it's called exit, right? IPO is you go public, right? You go public, you become 株式会社, right? So that's IPO. Or you sell it out, right? You go talk to Son-san, and Son-san will buy your company, and you call it done. Okay, you get $50 million and happy to do next things. So this is the end of your business. So that's how we think of our system. Every system has life cycle. It's different. One to one, different. It's very different. Okay, but you have to be thinking, where is my system is at now? And we call it stages and phases. So these three concepts is very important when we think about system. So I'm going to just review. All system consists of end product and enabling product. Well, I hope you agree on this. And all system has systems. I'm sorry. All system has subsystems, and it's recursive. It's cyclic. Yeah. All system has its life cycle. So every time you are thinking about something, you have to think about this. Okay. So like I said, everything is system. Everything is system. So no matter what you're thinking about, you can think like this. What is my end product? What is my enabling product? I should take a good care of enabling product too. Because if you focus too much, like Satoshi asked, if you put too much focus on end product and forget about your enabling product, what happens? Satoshi, what do you think?
Well, maybe it is very problematic.
Yes, you will probably not realize your system, right? Because think about the satellite. If you think about the satellite and you don't think about the rocket, what happens? Your satellite will sit on your yard forever. That's not happy. That's not happy, right? So no matter what you're thinking, you want to think both. And all system has subsystem. This is a good practice to keep it simple. 2 layers, system and subsystem. And all system has its life cycle. You need to understand what happens at where. Okay? And why? One thing I want to add that why do you need to think about your system going through this life cycle? So if you are making a car, okay, if you're a designer, okay, designing for a car, you will probably imagine your car going through the woods in a winding, in a very fast speed, right? So it looks cool. So you will probably draw your car so it looks really cool that when it's running really fast. However, your car has to be sent to the dealership at some point. Do you understand? So your car is not always running like that, but sometimes it's on the cargo or it's on the unpansha, right? It's on the unpansha and being sent to the dealership. And if that looks super ugly, if your car doesn't fit to the cargo, like the carrier thing, then you need to provide a special kind of trailer. Then that's dumb, right? So you want to think about not only the utilization stage, but many other stages of your system so that it works okay. Yeah? If you think about the highlighted stage only, then you're going to miss out the very important things. Yeah? Do you understand? Do you understand? So sometimes you will see a product that is so hard to change battery. Do you have a product like that? Do you have a product that is so difficult to change battery? No? 電池めっちゃ買いにくいプロダクトないですか？最近減ったかな？ありますよね、そういうの時々。あれは使ってる時のことはすっごい考えてるけど、メンテの時のことはあんま考えてないからネジ40個外すとか、めんどくさいわけですよ。無理、自分ではできないねって話になる。なので、すごい使われてる時だけじゃないことも考えてなきゃいけないねっていうのがこのライフサイクルを考えましょうっていうののポイントです。例えばビジネスだったら、一番うまくいってる時のことを考えてたら何が起きますか？多分一番最初のスタートが切れませんよね、もちろん切れないし、準備する段階の何かこう手落ちが出てしまうかもしれない。 なので、できるだけ自分の対象の一生を最初に考えておきましょうっていうのが、このライフサイクルを考えましょう。
Is the maintenance phase categorized into support phase?
Yeah. Yeah, according to this definition, yes. So you want to be thinking about your target or your system of interest throughout the life cycle. Not only the utilization stage or highlight. Okay? So he or she was born as a baby and die as a grandma or grandpa. So you cannot just look at her in her 20s. Maybe I should bring that back. Yes. So, yes. So something like this. All right?
Can I ask you one more question?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So is the system dynamically changed depending on the life stage?
Yes, absolutely.
So how? Yeah.
Right. So concept stage and development stage and production stage and utilization and support stage, your system may look very different.
And I want to ask you,
yes.
Yeah, the end product and the enabling product will be changed depending on the life cycle.
Well, end product is usually imagined here, right? And everything else falls into the enabling product. So as you can see, concept and development, production, support, and retirement, you can see development, production, deployment, disposal is a retirement. So it's almost like synchronized with the phases. Yeah, and then in product, of course, it comes to the reality when it's utilized. Yeah.
So once we decide the end product and the enabling product, we don't have to change them during the life cycle. I mean,
well, right, but you may not know every enabling product before you actually build them. You start building, you will find out many enabling products will come out. Yes. So this is just conceptual. Sometimes you know it beforehand. Sometimes you know as you move along. Yeah.
I see. So we have to maintenance the.
Exactly. So iterative. You know, it's not you define it first and it will be like that forever. You have to check and change if you need. So that's iteration is required. Yes, thank you for pointing that out. Taka.
Yes, I also have a question about cycle definition.
Yes.
In case of like web application or services,
yes,
it's no final version. We don't know when the final version comes out, right? So it's kind of like development stage, production stage, and it's both power in power.
Or
so,
in a circle.
Yes. So it's kind of like life cycle definition with flow.
Yeah.
Be like, is it only one framework? Or
No.
Okay.
This is just a reference model. So this is not true for every system. Like for example, web case it's updated so often, right? And what about country? Country will probably never have retirement. Well, some countries do, but hopefully Japan does not have a retirement stage. We're kind of in the early stage of retirement stage maybe, but we hope not. So it depends. It depends on what we're talking about. So this is just a reference model. Okay. So this is important. As a side to what we discussed earlier in the morning, and to understand, to approach things as a system. Okay. The NASA guy is talking on my. Wow. I wonder why that happened. Good. All right. So, before we get into break, I just want to introduce what we're going to do today. So, this is what we're doing today. A lot. Okay? A lot. See, Taka is laughing because he's an SDM person and he knows what this looks like. And Kun, you know what this looks like. It means a lot, right? Yes, they're laughing. All right, good. So, we're going to cover 4 things. Value graph,
causal loop diagram, customer value chain analysis, functional and physical architecture. Okay? But it sounds scary, but no. According to what we learned in the morning, it's simple. Okay? Value graph, this is what we're doing. Purpose and alternative idea viewpoint. That's the viewpoint we're standing. And our parts are higher purposes and alternative ideas. You will see that whole and then the parts. Okay? And then we're standing on this viewpoint. Causal loop diagram, we're going to stand on the cause and effect viewpoint. Okay? And then we're going to see parts as causes and effects. Okay? And customer value chain analysis, we will be standing on a value chain viewpoint, and then our parts will be stakeholders and their values. Okay? Simple. And function in the physical architecture, we're going to talk about, we will be standing on function and physical viewpoints, and we're going to talk about functions and physical structures. So, according to what we learned, what we're doing today is multiple viewpoints and recognizing different elements and their relationship and drawing a lot of diagrams. Comfortable? Yeah? So, yes, you will be doing a lot of systems approach, but they're pretty useful. So, yes. So this is why I spend so much time trying to communicate you why we approach system, because this way you can understand what we're doing. Otherwise, you will be just learning tools, right? That's not the essential. I want you to understand why these tools exist. What are the essence of these tools? And in terms of systems approach, it's different viewpoints and recognizing different elements and its interrelationship and drawing different diagrams. Excited? Good. All right, let's take a break. Let's come back at 12:20 after lunch, and we will 1:20. Yes, 1:20 after lunch here, and we're gonna start our lecture on these materials. All right, I'll see you after lunch.